I got something I found out today that maybe you already know, but I kind of figured this. I thought of you. So
How long I have to wait till I know what it is?
it's gonna go early. All right, we're streaming live. Just making sure I'm not echoing. Okay. All righty. Let's get ready to rumble. All right. So welcome live out of Miami, Fort Lauderdale, Lancaster, Pennsylvania. Welcome to the Jersey Boys Sports Talk. Today is July 21st, 2022. If you haven't yet, please subscribe to the Sportscast in all our channels, YouTube, Twitter, Spotify, iTunes. Also, if you haven't yet, please subscribe to the Jersey Boys Sports Talk podcast on Apple. You'll see, oops, I got the wrong background. Sorry, guys. You will see this lovely background of
we got rid of the face.
That's one. That's one background.
Yeah, this is better.
Yeah, this is a lot better.
Which one's better?
This one's better.
This one's better.
You guys are funny. Y'all got jokes, man.
Always. That's what I come with.
You started it.
I never understand why. These technical difficulties. Well, anyhow, let me just get it going. So, welcome to Jersey Boys Sports Talk. Today's July 22nd. Again, we have our guest host, who's a regular on our show, Mr. Joe Caparo, who is also the host of the Sports Plus show. He will talk about that a little bit later. Please subscribe to his show as well. Subscribe to us on YouTube and from the Sportscast. Hit the notification button. But you could always go back and listen to things that Byron says he didn't say, but he did say. So you can go and you can record it. So he loves to deny, deflect. So you can go there and see everything he has to say. Let's see if I can get this right now. Boom, get that open. Hallelujah. We are up and running. You got to love technology. All right. That's better. There we go. All righty. We're streaming live on Facebook and YouTube every Thursday at 8 p.m. You could also listen to us on your smart speaker. You can just say, hey, Alexa, play the Jersey Boys Sports Talk. And when we will come on right away. That's pretty cool. All right. So, again, we are ready to go. My co-host is hosted by Byron Jones and Victor Roach, which is me. Our special guest, again, Joe Capraro. And Mr. Byron, we always start off with because we got to enjoy this part of the year where you can tell me it's either hot, it's nice, and then it's cold.
Oh, I'm sure that's coming. That was 105. It was hot. It was hot.
Not that hot down here.
Oh, it was hot up here. And then we went out. During the course of coming home, it started pouring down rain. All right, man, it's gonna cool off. Well, it stopped raining within 5 minutes and got even hotter than what it was.
Yep.
It's hot. And it's supposed to be even worse tomorrow and Saturday.
And that's why I tell everybody, it's just like, you guys act like it wasn't hot in Jersey. Not only was it hot when it's hot, right? And not only is it hot, like we were talking about the other day, where we grew up, we didn't have central air conditioning. We had the fan in the window. Okay? And so, it's hot. So when people tell me, I don't like Florida, it's so hot. What are you talking about? It's hot up in New York. There's no breeze. It's hot in New Jersey.
And one air conditioner in your parents' room.
In your parents' room. And if you're lucky, they put one in the living room because they had guests over. That's where I'd have to sleep. So anyways, it was nice here today, as usual. And it wasn't too hot. The other day was hot, I guess, I was out and about, but it's beautiful. It stays nice. Still beautiful light outside. So I'm pretty excited. So Joe, welcome to the show. And how's you got the Sports Plus going on? We're gonna give you a little plug on that. So welcome, Joe. I got a special surprise for you as we continue to go. I'm gonna tell you that in a few minutes here. All right.
I'm nervous. I'm nervous already.
You don't have to be. That's actually good stuff, to be honest with you. So for our show, we're going to talk about a few things. Byron, you brought up a few things, some of the semi-finalists for Pro Football Hall of Fame. So I have that document. Also, that's all you gave me in the Excel. So we have that. We're going to talk about Daniel Bellinger, the rookie tight end replaced on pup list quad. Oh man, another guy. Giants are where we know about the throwbacks. I want to see what your thoughts are. Giants have to have solid team core. Do they? The next thing we're going to talk about the quarterback. Really? Okay, so you got ABC.
Those are the five things.
Those are 5 things. Those are the core we're going to talk about, right?
Right.
All right. And then we're going to talk about around the league. We got some new contracts that came in and some just crazy stuff happening.
We need to just bring up one thing since we have a Jet fan sitting here. What's up with Zach Wilson?
You know what? I could care less who he, if I see one more damn Stifler meme, grow up, people. Who cares, really? Honestly, he's an adult. She's an adult. They're all adults. Who among us has never slept with a friend's mother before? Really?
People are listening. People are listening. Okay, and so what is going on with Stifler?
So apparently, Zach Wilson. Byron, you probably know more details.
Keep this PG, but just tell the facts.
He was reported to be sleeping with a friend of his mother's. Right? Do I have that right?
Yes.
I mean, again, like I said, who among us hasn't had a quick relationship with someone vastly older or younger than
their
us?
moms? No.
Not our friends' moms.
Guys are missing.
Friends' moms. No.
Guys are missing out.
But dude, he's 23. How old can the mom be? 40 something.
Exactly. Perfectly reasonable for
and not for nothing. Kris Jenner, the Kardashians' mom, she's a hot lady. She's like 67. I mean, that's a little older, but I'm just saying, when the kids were younger, she was still a good looking lady. A lot of them. So a
lot of makeup.
I don't.
Recommendation for all the men out there in your 20s who are listening to this: date women in their 40s. Just for there's a million reasons.
And have you seen the movie? Have you seen the movie The Graduate?
I have.
All right. So if those young ones haven't seen it, go see the movie Graduate. Dustin Hoffman. I think it's a movie worth everybody should see. It's an interesting. It's Mrs. Robinson. So
and you could say that it ended well for Dustin Hoffman's character, and maybe not so much for Mrs. Robinson, but
right.
Classic movie.
But I want to go back to that. This is recorded, so we can go back to Byron Jones' comments. Okay, he loves to throw out, "Hey, what's up with your boy Zach Wilson?" And 2 years ago, he had him as quarterback rookie of the year.
Yes, I did.
He admitted it. Oh, so you're not getting that old. Things are recorded, right?
I don't.
And have a great memory. All right, so you do. I do. Yes, I do. So Zach Wilson, he picked his rookie of the year.
Yeah.
So interesting. Hey, things happen. They're personal. They're adults, right? It's not like
exactly.
They're adults,
and it's not like it's not like she's his professor or his trainer. They're people that know each other. It's between him and his mom and his mom's friend, and if his mom is okay with it, I'm okay with it.
Oh, is his mom's friend or his friend's mom?
His friend's mom.
Oh, is a friend's mom? Okay, yeah. Either way, then I don't care what
I don't care. Mom's friend, a little bit different, but it's your friend's mom.
They're not friends anymore.
Yeah, that's a little bit challenging. You know what I'm saying? Because it's hard enough for a friend to date your sister, much less your mom.
Yeah, it depends on how good a friend though, and how much you like the mom.
And it's New York. They blow it up. All right. So look, before we get into it, I just want to share. You may know this, but I didn't know that. And I've listened to it, and they're mentioning it again. It's on right now again. So how when we were talking about Thibodeau, right?
Yeah.
And we were talking about Thibodeau, and that's when you brought up that he could be the next LT and this and that and blah blah blah. And awesome. I mean, hey, look, there's a lot of things about him, but my own piece is comparing someone to someone like anyone who's already done it. It's just until they do it. It's hard, but if the potential is there, it's nice to know. And he's a giant. But anyways, we were talking about that. Then the next thing we were talking about is, I said, look, if he's that good, he's available, we should take him, right? Remember, we were having that conversation and blah, blah, blah. We did take Micah Parsons last year, whatever the situation was. So the story, though, and I have it here, is the story behind that, though, is that there is a young gentleman. His name is Sam Prince, So remember there was a kid that selected Thibodeau for the draft on behalf of the Giants.
Oh yeah.
Okay, so I just thought it was some fan that won something. I didn't think much of it. I was like, all right, it's pretty cool, blah blah blah. But long story short, there's a good story behind him. He had a heart transplant. Eli Manning came. He met with the Maras, and before they even offered him to do this. Before that, so if you get a chance to watch it, they keep replaying it. Before they even had a chance to do this, his comment, this kid, God bless him, had heart transplant. He's doing well when he was younger. First thing he goes, well, you got any suggestions to me? I guess he met the owner and he talked to Joe Shane, right?
Yeah.
Shane. Okay, he goes, hey, if Thibodeau's there, you need to run and grab him. I mean, that was literally exactly what he said before. This was before the draft, pre-draft, before they even offered it to everything.
Yeah.
That made me crack up because I thought of you, because here's a kid who's a big Giant fan, by the way. He does sports podcasting and this and that. But he got hopefully God blesses him. He had a heart transplant, things go well. But his number one thing, he started telling them, he goes, what do you think about that? Don't mess up. He tells them. And he goes, and run to the microphone if Thibodeau's still available. He goes, I don't think he's going to be available though. Right. But if he is, you need to grab him. And lo and behold, not only did they offer him the opportunity to select the draft on their behalf, he ends up picking the guy he tells him. I mean, obviously that he didn't tell they were going to pick him
right.
If available. But I'm just saying to you, you can't ask for a better dream than that, right? I mean, and then when you hear the story, I thought it was interesting. So I want to bring it up. I was going to mention you today, but now that you're here, so that's a kudos to you. And I think it's a great story. That's all. Any thoughts on that, Byron?
That was a long story, man.
Well, that was exciting. I had to give some color comments. Go ahead, Joe.
Oh, okay, all right.
Well, I mean, I think you're absolutely right that it's way too early to tell what the guy's going to be on the field, but you've got to love what he's been like as a representative of the team. Just as a man in the community so far, he's already sort of had a couple of projects, come out in the news that he seems to be already an enthusiastic part of the greater community, and he's going to do a lot for the area and probably for people back home too. So I think if you look at everything you've heard about the guy both on and off the field so far, you can't be anything but thrilled at this point, right?
Byron?
True. Yeah, up here you've heard nothing but good things, as far as what Joe said, as far as what's going on up here with him. But you also have the other guy, Evan Neal, from Alabama. They heard, they said, he stayed up here, he's been working hard and stuff. So both of them, are gonna, hopefully do well up here. But we'll see about the next LT thing.
Well, I mean, Neal's a pretty much can't miss, 12-year starter, right? Like that position's pretty easy to predict. I feel like tackles who go in the top 5, there's no busts among those guys. Well, there's been a couple, but they're pretty
Robert
rare.
Gallery, Iowa.
Yeah. But how long ago was that?
Tom Mandrick. Tom Mandrick, right?
Again, but you guys are going back to when we were that age.
I'm just saying.
In the 80s. Yeah.
Hey, wait a second. This is a sports show. You bring something up, we got to be a little Bob Costas, right? You got to show that we can just on the cuff bring up some pieces. You're right. We're older. You're right. It's far between, because they did say that there's more value in picking a lineman early is because they usually tend to re-sign, right? They linemen, they're able to make an impact, and they usually are, the value is worth keeping them longer term. So there was something to the value of grabbing linemen early. But
everybody else gets too expensive too quickly, right?
Yeah.
Corners, receivers,
corners,
yeah. And then, I hope what's rubbing off on him is what they did by bringing back the veterans, right? Because, when you talk to Strahan, you talk to some of those guys that won Super Bowls, and they know what it means to win in New York City, right? And to contribute to New York and New Jersey in that area. So hopefully, that's where he's getting some of that from. Obviously, it's the character of him. But I think that if again, it goes back to what we were talking about the other day, that they're bringing back some of the veterans, right, to camp and so forth. And I think
Yeah.
when you win Super Bowls, you got that giant kind of blue blood in you and the history there. I think it's just great, and I hope I like to hear things like that. Someone's doing something in the community, and he sees the impact that he can make both on and off the field, and he does well. I mean, the sky's the limit for that young man.
What about the apparent change in tone from last year's coaching staff to this year's? Like, it seems like, especially Kadarius Toney seems really happy with the way things are going. You hear a lot of like positive statements about the coaching staff that he never heard about Joe Judge.
Well, you can see that, with Dable and Kafka, the two coordinate, well, pretty much Kafka's going to be the coordinator, and Dable, have that offensive mindset. Not like Joe Judge, we didn't have a clue what, he was going to do. And, now these guys, they've seen like, the Kansas City offenses and the Buffalo offenses, what these guys, what those teams did. Now, they probably feel that, because they have these two coaches, that it's, going to probably hopefully rub off on them as well.
Yeah. Well, they just gotta stay healthy, though. I mean, they could be all
Yeah,
excited.
that probably would help.
It'd be helpful that our receiving core be. Every time we talk about a receiving core, we're very impressed, and then we go, but they're hurt.
Yeah.
Right?
But they're hurt.
But they're hurt. And that's the sad part. On paper, we look good, but paper doesn't play on the game. So I'm excited to hear I'm excited to see what's happening there. I'm glad they're talking well about but we're going to see, right? Things have to come together. We still have we have have a division to play, and we're still not in the top echelon of the NFC East right now. So it's going to be a journey. All right, so Byron, we have here. We're going to go first with and I'll leave the other piece for later. So Giants wear the 1980 90s throwback jerseys for 2 games. Why is that news?
Because it's news. Because people want to see those jerseys. They haven't been wearing them for a while, because when they had the 3 train wreck, for coaches, that why would you bring back the throwback jerseys considering they suck? Maybe the 80s and 90s stuff, is going to rub off on them a little bit. Putting those jerseys on. Mm-hmm. Who knows? But they're nice though. You see how nice they were. They had with the red outline on. They're pretty sharp. They were nice.
I don't care. I like it. The only uniforms I don't like is the ones that look like prison stripes from the Pittsburgh Steelers.
Oh man, I love that.
Those are the ugliest uniforms in my opinion. Period.
That's all I want to see. I want to see throwbacks to the 40s and 50s uniforms. That's make them wear leather helmets, man. The older the better.
Yeah, nice. Yeah. I mean, I'm talking about Byron. What do you think about those Pittsburgh uniforms?
They're like a bunch of hamburglers running around. Remember the hamburglers? That's what it looked like running around the field.
Those crazy. Ugly uniforms. I'm sorry.
That's what they had. So, what do you expect? But they definitely look like a hamburglar.
See, I said jail. You said hamburger. Both. They were criminals. They looked bad. I mean, it doesn't look good at all. I mean, some of them look nice. I mean, New England, you go back, they don't look so bad. You know what I'm saying? But those are just terrible.
See, I like the Packers and the Giants super old throwbacks when they go back and do that 40s and 50s stuff. That's what I want to see every week.
But how much have they really changed, like the Giants and stuff? I mean, it's Giants. Other than having New York on it or
Giants cross the side.
It's not like New England. They have a total logo change, right? Some of those teams have total logo changes.
I just like it when they go back even further to where the helmets are just one solid color, and the jerseys there's nothing fancy about the jerseys. There's like a blue part and a white part. Like, I really like the Cowboys super old throwbacks with the just kind of the blue shoulders with the star, and the rest of it's kind of white. We
don't like anything Cowboys.
I'm a simple man with simple tastes. So.
All righty. So throwbacks. All right. Well, hey, look, anything. I'll take anything. Do the Giants have a solid core? So the core we're going to talk. Obviously, the positions we're going to be. We don't even have. Don't worry about special teams. We got quarterback, wide receiver, offensive tackles, pass rusher, and cornerbacks. I'm assuming those are plural, right, Byron? Yes. All right. So quarterback. Do we have a solid team core? So you want to elaborate on that? Let's start off with a quarterback.
Well, it all starts with Mr. Daniel Jones. If Daniel doesn't perform, it's not looking good. But he has two real coaches now. He has Davis Webb, who was a third string quarterback who did play at Buffalo, who's basically going to be a quarterback, like a player coach kind of thing, helping Daniel out as far as terminology and different stuff that's going on, and hopefully that'll rub off on him at work. But if all else fails, we do have Mr. Tyrod Taylor, the backup quarterback, who is a competent second string quarterback. He is, might as well say the truth. He's not bad at all. And if Daniel stumbles and trips over his feet over the line or whatever this year, he'll be Bios Candios with the bye. And we'll be looking for a quarterback next year.
Well, I'd like to welcome Anthony Price has joined us via chat on Facebook. And he said, I guess, I don't know if he's taking a shot at me or just been kind. Zach Wilson is the GOAT over Tom Brady. I think he's taking
funny guy.
I think that's your boy taking a shot at me.
Wow.
And then he goes, random question. If the Giants don't believe in Daniel Jones, well, Byron believes in Daniel Jones.
I believe
and look, I don't not believe in him. I just want to see. He goes, why don't they trade him from Jimmy G? I don't think they have the money.
Because the money. Because Jimmy G's making like 32 million or 20, some crazy amount. Giants can't afford that.
They don't have money for Jimmy. I don't think San Francisco wants to trade him. I don't know what their deal is.
And they certainly aren't going to take Daniel Jones for him. They're going to want something more valuable than that.
Hurt, man. That hurt.
They're not going to do an even trade. You got to pay plus like send Saquon and you got to send some people there. So that's funny. I don't think we'll be trading him for look, the other thing's got to look. A lot of pressure's on the quarterback. There's no doubt. But look, the other places have to perform too, right? And hopefully these coaches don't call dumb plays, and Daniel Jones doesn't make dumb plays after they call it a dumb play, right? Like calling a quarterback sneak the week before after you just got a concussion, you had neck injury. That was just stupid in my opinion.
That's one play, man.
No, then the next play he did a sweep to his weak side, and then he tried to dive in head first. Byron, those are just dumb moves. You got to protect yourself.
And we looked at it 1,000 times, and I told you if Kyle Rudolph had made the block, he would have made the corner. And that's all I got to say about it.
I didn't disagree with that, except for he dove head first.
What else is he going to do?
Slide, dude.
No slide.
Get rid of the ball.
Have you ever seen anybody slide into the end zone?
Just go down, dude. You're injured already. All right. Well, I don't want to get into that.
Whatever.
All right. So solid quarterback. Okay. Solid of the team's quarterback. I think it obviously works in a different order, right? I'm going to change this up, Byron. Okay.
It's not an order. It's just,
I understand. So I'm going to start this way.
Not order.
We have a solid core team. I think we all agree it starts. You have offensive tackle. Is there any reason why you don't have line? You have tackle?
Tackle. Yeah, tackle. Where was most of his pressure come from, Daniel? From the outside. He gets a little skittish when he had suspect right tackle and a suspect left tackle when Andrew Thomas was hurt. And quarterback, what do they want to do? They want to be able to step up to the pocket into a clean pocket. And his pocket was never clean. Never. When you have you have the center, and the two guards are getting pushed back into your face as a quarterback, they don't like that. Even Tom Brady, when the New York Giants played him in the Super Bowl, what did they do? Pushed him up the middle, came around the end, and made him step up. Quarterbacks don't like that.
I think we're pretty good in the offensive tackle right now, right?
Right now, yes.
So they got to perform. That's all.
Yeah, I think at some point, I don't know, maybe of the last 15 years or so, tackles, like you said, Byron, have become so much more important. You just look at where they're drafted. There were a handful of tackles that got picked before the first guard did. Yes. So I think you start with your tackles, and then you get a good center too, because he can do the most to control that rush up the middle. But it seems like guards are the afterthought when you go to put together an offensive line now, for sure.
Well, the only exception was Quentin Nelson. with the Colts. He was picked like pretty high, like 3 or way up the food chain. But look how it's worked out with him. He's been a dominant guard, all pro every year since he's been there. That's the guy the Giants basically should have taken instead of Saquon, but that's another story, another day.
Interesting. All righty. So now let's go to core. Do we have a solid core from a wide receiver position?
What do you think?
So I think we have a solid core from the wide receiver position. That's not true. I think we have a core. We have a core wide receiver positions. The reason why they're not solid is because if they were solid, they wouldn't be hurt, right? And it's just.
But we're talking about if they're not hurt? What if they're not hurt?
If they're not hurt, I think they're pretty good. I think that's a good lineup. We went through that last time. I mean, let's go through it. We got Kadarius Toney. When he's played and he's not hurt, he's performed.
But he also had knee surgery this year. Well, this spring he had Scott. Yeah, with a receiver. Yeah.
Okay. You can
keep going.
You got Kadarius Toney. You have
Galladay.
You got Galladay.
Who didn't catch one touchdown pass, but keep going.
Yeah, but the object is Galladay's pretty good, right? Okay. No, you don't like Slayton. Slayton's good. Right. Yeah.
What did he do last year? What did he do?
Dude, but then that's not fair. You might as well go and do that about what did Daniel Jones do last year.
I'm just no.
What did Saquon do last year?
Stay on the receivers.
I'm just saying you can't. You got to just determine, are they good? Right? Are they are they good enough to be productive? And
let's start this. Okay, can they be productive?
Yes.
Okay.
I
feel better.
Do you?
Do I? As long as they don't get hurt, trip like with Daniel Jones. As long as they don't get hurt, tripping over the line.
Yo, help me out here.
I'm actually more ready to challenge the fact that you think receivers are the second most important position on the field.
No, I wasn't going. I wasn't going in the order.
Okay,
I stayed with the offense, right? So I went offense, right? Because Daniel Jones, it's a one person position, right? He's got to produce. But we've always been saying, or Byron, particularly, we've seen him produce. He had the best yardage downfield throwing percentage in the league, right? So, but we've been talking about the offensive line for 3 years already. Okay, so
they've been terrible for 3 years.
It's hard to determine the quarterback first if you don't start with where the biggest problem was. That's why I started.
Sure.
I went to the offensive tackle, and then I said, okay, he doesn't have running backs here, so I went to wide receiver. But that's the only reason. Right. So I'm not picking as the ultimate. I'm just saying, but Daniel Jones, because if that's the case, right, I would have had to go on the running backs, and we don't have running backs out here. Right. So at the end of the day, right. But my point being is based on their offense and the way they've been running things, we have good enough receivers that should be able to be productive, but that line has to help out, and we have to have some type of running game.
And as far as the receivers go, I mean, you got Shepard too, who's talented, but like I said, can't stay on the field. I think they've got enough. It's kind of that thing, like if the whole core stays 75% healthy, they'll be fine because they have enough depth. But it's not a great way to build a team. You're also not asking this team to make the Super Bowl this year. Like, you're looking for 6 or 8 wins and an improvement and some sort of gelling, and this is when you figure out which two of those receivers work best with your quarterback when he actually, like you said, Vic, when he has 3.5 seconds to throw the ball without getting trampled. So,
I think it's key that they're also utilizing Saquon in more passing plays, right? So that'll help, but that'll help quite a bit. So
his health too, man. His health is a huge deal for that team. They're a totally different team when he's effective. You forget, like, I know everybody likes to sort of, and you guys do it too. You guys hate the pick because they took him second. But if he's at his peak for, and able to stay healthy, I don't think you're questioning that pick. What's it been, five years now? 6 years.
And I
4,
think
5,
he's only played like one full year, I think, though.
Yeah, his rookie year, and that was it.
I mean, that's a problem, right? I mean,
But I think he'll if you want to keep him long term, you'll be able to do it at a discount just because of that. So, you got to weigh it all. And the problem is a running back's career doesn't last that long anyway. And if he's been on and off the field, I don't feel like that. Like playing part time doesn't extend a running back's career from 5 to 7 years. It just makes it 5 years with fewer games.
So it goes back to, I think that we have a solid team. I don't know if they're I mean, a core receiver. I don't know if they're solid because we've had so many injuries. It's just ridiculous. I mean, did you just give me Daniel Bellinger?
Yeah, the tight end, rookie tight end, already hurt.
The tight end, quad. Every one of them has a quad. Like we have a quad epidemic in New York, okay, in Giants, because everyone has a quad injury. Everybody.
Yeah, but what is the issue that these guys keep having these type of injuries? They're always leg injuries, all of them. Galladay, Tony, Shepard, Slayton, Bellinger. Now, and the list goes on. It's always something with these. Are they running them too much?
Or are they not stretching enough? Or they're not stretching enough? It's usually it's stretching, or are they timing, practicing after these guys are working out? I mean, there's a lot of things that can take place that affect your quads, right? Especially when you run a lot, that you have to be fully stretched, like crazy stretched, because there's just too many movements and your quads are, a key component of it. So
he just got the rookies just reported on Tuesday, and all of a sudden sit there and see this. It was like, how does he get hurt? It's Tuesday, and he's already hurt before he even starts anything. They walk through stuff. They sit in the classroom. How you sit in the classroom and you're walking through stuff you might stretch? How is that possible?
Well, you know what that tells me? That tells me that they're just getting worked a lot harder at this point in camp than they were last year. I mean, that seems to me, if these are muscle injuries.
Nah, we've been hurt all year though, Joe. Last year, same thing, same injuries.
Yeah, I can't blame it on these coaches then. That's just when you get a lot of players that get hurt early in camp, that's just an indicator that the players didn't come prepared for what they were, the workouts they were going to be subjected to. But I don't know, maybe it's something in the water up there in East Rutherford.
Yeah.
Right. Well, Byron. Well, just so we're clear, from Byron's experience, it's not easy to prepare for training camp.
I remember the first day in Minnesota.
The hardest you can prepare, you're still going to be harder than what you're going to experience.
Our first day in Minnesota, because I stayed up there, when I think I drafted, I went to the rookie camp and all this other stuff. And I was like, I'm in the best shape of my life. Like the first day, I'll never forget the first day we were out there, we did up downs for like 15 minutes before we even started anything. I was so jacked up after I finished doing it. I'm all wobbly and stuff. I couldn't even stand up. And we still had another 3 hours to go. I was like, that ain't what I thought this was gonna be. I was like, oh my God, man. This sucks. So
back then the coaches were a lot harder. They don't give you the time.
Yeah, Bud Grant, and he was the one with the whistle blowing up, down for like 15 minutes, man. I thought I was gonna die, and then we had to go. All right, okay, practice starts now.
All right, let's go to the core. Do we have a solid core pass rusher? I feel we have a pretty good pass rushing. We got the edge rusher. We got Williams.
Or more like Thibodeau. Ojulari, Ellison Smith, the other new kid.
And they're all young.
The sleeper is going to be Quincy Roche from the University of Miami. So, at edge rusher, they're pretty, they have potential to be good.
Well, they're going to have to come after Dak to stop him. They're going to have to come after Dak. So I feel pretty good from pass rusher. Cornerback, I'm not really I'm not confident in the quarterback piece. So, but again, it goes same way I was saying, like why start with Daniel quarterback, first start with the offensive tackle. In defense, you got to start with the defensive line, right? Because with a great defensive line, right, it helps a weaker defensive backfield.
Yep.
Okay, that's the bottom line, right? You give me less time to cover a guy, the better chances I have of covering him better.
I got to
You know what I
get
mean?
there though.
Yeah, but with this secondary, they would need LT, 1984 LT and 2006 Strahan to cover what's with the deficiencies of that secondary. I think like your overall question, are they solid? I think they're whatever the opposite. They've got the framework. It's like you guys remember Tinker Toys?
They're yellow, out of a red, green, and yellow, right?
I feel like they've got the structure, but they just need to fill in these other spots now. Like they've got a good tackle. They've got a quarterback who might work out. They've got a couple good receivers who haven't been able to stay on the field long enough. They've got unproven but very talented rushers. They've got nobody at cornerback. So they've got some of the pieces, but there's a lot more filling in that's going to have to be done before this is a contending team.
I think they're set. They're like McKinney, the kid from Alabama, is one of the safeties. So I think like the safety position, they're going to be pretty good. With Julian Love and Dane Belton, the kid they drafted from Iowa. Those three and deep, they should be fine. But the corners, they got Dory Jackson and nothing else.
Well, you guys are defensive players. You know this. You can't play defense with 7 guys. Like you need 11 players doing their job on defense, or you're going to get scored on a lot. If your right guard blows an assignment 1 out of every 3 plays, you're just going to get sacked. You can't defense. You got to have more of those holes filled on defense. I feel like
but yes and no, because in the secondary, when you have good safeties, you're able to cover, right? You just got your instincts got to be good, and you got to be able to cover, because there's been many times where the cornerback does his job and he's expecting support from the safety, and if the safety didn't do his job, hence Kevin Kupp, whatever his name is, remember Cooper Kupp. That was just stupidest safety play I ever saw in my life, right? Again, I had the smarts. I just wish I had that guy's ability, because I would have had a pick 6. There ain't no way I'm thinking it ain't going to Kupp, right? I'm gonna disguise like I'm not thinking it's going to him, but I know it's coming to him. I'm gonna put my position break. So it all balances out. Sometimes the safety can cover 2 positions. One thing they were talking about, cover 3 is going to be very important to help out with some of the weaker corners. Right. So where they're going to kind of split the field, where, safeties are quick, we're able to cover. That's why I can cover 2. And when we play cover 2, we got to cover half of the field. And we're not covering just 1 corner, right? 1 zone. So it helps out. It also helps out with your pass rush. So in defense, you can get away. It also goes back to my opposite that might remember what I'm talking about. But when you got a shut down corner, it also makes a difference on the other side. Right?
And your safeties are freed up to take more chances too. So like that's it. It all kind of balances out each other. I think we're saying the same thing. You got to have.
I'm just saying that you can only have so many holes. Offense. I don't know, Byron. What do you think? I think offense, you need more precision. I think if a guard doesn't do it right, it's a problem. And now I'm thinking about what you said, right? Offensive, that thing is designed for everyone to execute to perfection. In defense, you can mess up, but you better mess up aggressively, right? Except for when you're in the secondary, right? In the secondary, you got to pick and choose your aggressiveness based on the time, the quarter, the position, the field. But when you're up front, if you're blitzing and you shouldn't have blitzed, go all out, right? There's nothing else you can do.
Here we go with this anti-big man bias again, Byron. If you're a defensive end and you blow your assignment on an option play, that's as much of a touchdown as if you get burnt on a 1 route. Like I think
that's not true. Okay, hold on. You got an option play. How does the defensive end blow his assignment?
Not taking the quarterback.
Not what?
Not taking the quarterback.
Not taking
the quarterback.
taking the
Not
wrong
taking
guy,
the-
taking the wrong player.
guy. They could be
Okay.
if you could take the
Okay.
running back, it might
As
be
the
a
option
quarterback,
plays running, what's happening simultaneously?
What?
Crowd's cheering.
The
No.
crowd's cheering.
There's the defensive back. He's got to see that. He's
Yeah,
coming
what
up.
is he-
He's
but he has
coming
to
up
come
for.
up.
He's coming up. He's coming up for
Right.
the inside to keep the guy inside. So yes, it stinks that he gets around them, right? But these guys are so fast now. They get beat. They can make it back. And you just got to slow them down from a corner. From a corner position, you got to stretch it out. Everything's got to go left. As long as you're making it go east and west, you can make up for that.
Yeah, but if the defensive man is not playing, doing his job as far as to make it to stretch it out, then it's a problem.
And you're just as vulnerable to giving up a touchdown. I know, again, you want to do the cornerback bias, the D-back bias, but there's
You got to do your job.
But great. If I don't do my job as an offensive tackle, all right, it's 2nd and 18.
You don't do your job as an offensive tackle, you just damaged your quarterback.
Yeah.
All right, but unless it's a run play.
If you don't do your job as a guard, someone else is going to get hurt.
But if you don't do your job as a cornerback, it's 6 points. Like, that's my point. That a failure on defense
No, because
can be much more.
If you don't do your job as a cornerback, you have to not do your job, and that play is going to you.
Who did you just blame that Cooper Kupp play on?
Safety.
Okay, one guy who didn't do his job, touchdown.
The one guy didn't do his job, touchdown. Yes.
Again, I miss a block. If I'm the center and I take the tackle instead of the linebacker when they're blitzing, my quarterback gets blown up. Yeah, I got to apologize to him in the huddle. But again, it's 2nd and 18. We still got the ball. So one mistake can be way more damaging. One player's single mistake can be way more damaging on defense than on offense. That's not a mystery. I don't think it's even contendable, really.
You got to remember, like the Wink Martindale.
I disagree.
Wink Martindale is the defensive coordinator now from the Baltimore Ravens. That's where he came. And what did Baltimore always have? They had very good corners. Both their corners are good. They were good the whole while. He was ranked number 1 or in total defense in the top 5 because they had good corners that could cover people one-on-one. And he's gonna scheme it up where they're gonna blitz. And if they don't have the right corners that can cover when they're blitzing, it's going to be a problem.
My dad's philosophy through his whole coaching career was to put your best 11 players on defense. Take your best 11 athletes, put them on defense, find a place for them. That's how you can be successful. You guys are living proof.
And I love your dad.
You were both defensive players. You were both.
The problem is he never built an offense.
Well, that's the problem with that. He ran the wing tee.
I love you, Dad. But if I had to go back, it was by far the worst offense. Dude, we lost 5-0. We lost 9-6. We lost. I mean, we couldn't do anything. The only time we could win is when then my fraternity brother transfers. That's when I truly believed in the kicker because you got a good defense, and as long as you can give me a damn 3 points, we win the game. This lose 5-0.
I am very proud to be a Capraro. I am ashamed of the family offense. He and his brother ran that offense from the mid 60s, and my cousin picked it up too, coaching at Edison in 10 years ago. It's the worst. I mean, it might have worked great it worked great if you had mediocre athletes and it was 1972.
That wing tee, you better have like crazy, like super. You needed Ty. Remember Ty?
Oh God, yeah.
Okay, well, you needed like 7 of them. You can't have the players that we have. Wasn't built for that. But anyhow,
it's overly complicated to get nowhere.
Good.
There's no down the field to it. So you're right. Maybe there was too much emphasis on the defense, and but I think again, my point is that a bad play, a blown assignment on defense is almost always going to be more devastating than a blown assignment on offense.
No, I don't know. I could give you the opposite, right? The receiver runs the wrong route, and we pick it up, and it's pick 6. Receiver runs the wrong route. We're jumping it, right? We know we're going to see it. So there, if the tackle doesn't block, Byron's going to knock him out for a fumble, return recovery. I mean,
Or
so
you as a
I just
or
think
you
I
as a
think
corner, or you as a corner fall down, and next you know the receiver's running 40 yards down the field by himself.
it's true. But how many times have you seen open receivers and they didn't throw them to them? Like everything's got to happen at the right time. You got to be able to have the right quarterback to find the right mess up and right coverage, because it doesn't always. I just think that that's why the offensive playbook is so much difficult, right? Because there's so many more assignments to do, and they all have to work in cohesion. If you don't pick up that guy, you don't pick up that guy, you don't pick up that guy, and then now it's on pure talent. That's all. I mean, we could agree to disagree. The only difference is that if you find a mess up, a blown coverage, it could cost you 6, but it may not cost you 6. It costs you long yardage, but then it could cost you a sack. It can go either way. But offense is designed for every one of those X's and O's to be executed. Defense, a lot of times, some of it's ad lib, right or not, Byron? It's not like there's a lot of ad libbing to defense.
Not Tulsa, not where I played. No.
Really?
No.
It's not that difficult. You get the guy with the ball, right? The only thing you're going to do is you're going to loop around. You're not going to loop around. You're going to cover the guy. I mean, that's it. From defensive back, you're going to fake your coverage. You're going to fake your man-to-man. You're going to try to sucker him in. You're going to slide over to one side. I mean, but then you're attacking the ball.
No, at Tulsa, the way we played our front was to keep the line off the linebackers. That was our job, to keep.
But that is the line's
our
job
linebackers
to begin with.
No.
And the linebacker's job is to keep them off the defensive backs.
Yeah, but then when we changed up, like maybe a couple games of the season where the Chicago Bear coordinator had came there and was talking, to our position coach, and basically sit there and told us like we should be, the guys that we had on our front should have been, attacking. Like just like University of Miami, just go straight up. Just go and worry about getting the line, running back on the way by, and that's how we changed up. But originally, our job was to keep the linebackers clear.
I prefer that because, man, no offense, but the worst thing I hated is when we run a defense and the damn defensive end had to cover the flat. Like, that brother ain't gonna get down to no flat in time. He's not gonna get in that zone, man.
I did it.
You're killing me.
I was able to do it.
I'm just saying, man. I used to hate getting eaten up on short passes. Oh my God.
I was able, I covered our defensive end. I could cover flat. I was 280 pounds and I was able to get out there and cover flat. No problem.
Oh, man, I would have been a happy camper because you covered the flat. I'll take the rest, man. And I remember, Joe, I'm going to tell you something like an instinct. So we're playing Albright, right? And that was my sophomore year. I was having a really good year. And I knew the play coming. And that's when we had rotated into a defense where I was able to shift from safety to corner to strong safety, right? So that was awesome because now they didn't know where I was and I could play multiple positions. I knew what was going to happen. I called it. I predicted it. Oh my God. I predicted it so well that I jumped it too soon. Okay. Now, I still knocked the play down, but Byron, I had the ball in the flat. I jumped too soon, so it went a little bit higher than I could just get it. And if I would have caught that ball, it was gone. Clear sailing. Clear sailing, right? And it goes back to just, the receiver not out there, you making the wrong play. I make a wrong play on defense and I miss the interceptions, would have called 6, but again, I think that offense is harder. Right.
So I got a question for you guys both, just about your general history as athletes. For me, those kind of plays, Vic, like the time I didn't slide coming into a college baseball game, didn't slide, got caught in between steps, ended up having to stay upright and got tagged out. Just like little stupid plays, every blown assignment for a sack. I can remember every play like that for my entire athletic career. But the highlights don't surface as often. Like I remember high school, same thing. East Brunswick guy threw a pass over my head. I jumped, it hit me in the wrist and bounced off my wrist. Nobody in front of me. I was a fat guy playing linebacker would have been the closest I ever came to a touchdown. I had 20 yards to run with nobody in front of me. Just doinked off my wrist. Do you remember that stuff? Do you remember your successes?
I remember both, yeah. Because as a defensive back, think about it, right? Okay, so I'm gonna tell. I also remember the bad, okay, because I'm gonna tell you right off the bat, right? So, and we were playing King College, right? And I knew that we were beating them up, and they were gonna have to pass. And I was going for the interception record for the year, okay? And this is like the second game of the season. Second game of the season, already on my mind was for the breaking the record, right? And I had to beg your dad, please put me in, because he's putting everybody else in. No, they're gonna throw. No, please. I was safety. I wanted to throw. Put me in the game, please. I finally convinced him to put me in the game. He puts me in the game, and sure enough, they throw it. And sure enough, man, that thing is coming out. I'm like, yeah, it's gonna get another pick. I'm up in the air. I got the ball. I go to bring it down. I'm so excited. I brought it down so fast, I threw it down. I literally just dropped. I end up tying the record for the year. That one in the beginning of the year held me from breaking 8 interceptions. And 7 interceptions was the record. That would have been my 8th for the year. And
that's what you get.
And my 21st.
That's what you get for thinking about your stats in game 2. First of all,
we were winning though, so yeah. Well, that's what the demon is. And then I can tell you the good thing. But then there was like in Trenton when we played, I got beat by I got beat by this big tight end. Man, tight ends were hard to cover. I remember the failures. I remember, oh my God, I remember the worst one against one of the worst teams in the conference. We were on fire. We should have won. They ran like a reverse throwback pass. And my dumb ass was coming all the way up till I said, oh no, they're throwing it. And the kid kept running. And remember what I told you that, instinctively you're supposed to, a guy keeps running, no one's supposed to be behind you. Oh man. It was the worst. It was the worst feeling of my life.
As you're telling all these stories, I have this vision of my dad on the top of the press box in East Orange saying,
he was on the field. He was in the press box.
All right. Well, he used to be up in the press box. I guess it's probably before you, but
yeah, he was always on the field when I played.
My memory is terrible anyway, but I can hear him screaming your name with a blasphemous, 2-syllable word in front of it and throwing down his phones. But I probably have that memory of just about every player who played for him at some point. There was a lot of yelling on that sideline always. It wasn't just him too. It was his whole staff, including actually no, Byron, you weren't much of a yeller back then, were you?
No, and neither was Ficarra. Coach Ficarra was.
Oh yeah. But Richie Haig was. I don't want to throw names under the bus. Just hey, yelling by itself.
They were old school guys.
Yeah,
I mean the stuff your dad did is like
it's fire.
It would be considered abuse today.
Yeah, they get fired.
And I'm not saying that in my opinion he was an abusive, right? I'm so crystal clear. We grew up, that's how it was. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
He didn't mess around. So he wasn't abusive. But in today's world with the sensitivity and all that, It was ridiculous. But Byron, come on, they were rough. Right? Yes or no?
Who you telling? I had to deal with Janeski. Come on.
High school coaches were rough. My baseball coach, Urbanski, he would spit chewing tobacco on my brand new spikes. Okay?
Yeah, I played for my dad's brother first 3 years in high school, and then Mike Salento, who was a Perth Amboy coach, he was not easy. He was a tough guy. And then college,
that dude was a winner, though, man. He won everywhere.
He was good. I love playing for Mike. He was a
fantastic
fantastic coach.
He won at Woodbridge.
Yeah, Mike ran. Everybody on that team loved playing for Mike. I got a lot of respect for him.
You know Salento, Byron?
Yeah.
Okay, he's the one who built that weight room.
I know.
Yeah. mean, that's pretty impressive. So,
Yeah.
all right, let's get on. We're gonna go back to many things. Shoot, the best highlights we got on this show is Byron in the NFL.
I got Arkansas when we played Arkansas.
No, but I'm saying to you that any highlight we could have, one at your level at Tulsa's one, but then just any highlight in the NFL is just outstandingly supersedes any of my little drop passes.
When I picked off the pass, I ran it in for a touchdown.
In the NFL?
Yeah, preseason, yeah.
That's awesome.
It's Pittsburgh.
That's awesome.
It was like slow motion. I sit there in front of the screen, and I'm looking at it. I'm like, I went to the quarterback, and then I broke off and when I saw the running back come across my face. I was like, and he threw the ball just, and I tipped it. Just barely tipped it. And next thing it floats down in my hand. I was like, wow, look at this. I was like, yeah, I took off running, like 30 yards, 30.
Byron, I don't know. I mean, I don't know how it said, but see how you said slow motion?
It was everything.
I am telling you,
it slowed down.
There's very few interceptions that I had that I will tell you, Joe, that most of them I kind of felt was slow motion. Something happened in that time. There was only maybe one or two that weren't that I was able to snatch out of the air or catch one-handed or maybe 5 out of 20 that weren't. The remainder, it felt like everything slowed down. I don't know. Like the crowd got quiet, the ball got bigger. I don't know. And if Byron's saying that, he's experiencing in I don't know how many interceptions you had, right? As a D lineman. But my point is, so my point being is there's got to be something to it that I'm telling you, a person who's had, over 20 something interceptions and 75%, I felt it was slow motion. And he felt the same way with one. There's got to be something to that psyche.
I'll tell you, as you were saying that, I would say probably about 75% of every great play I've ever made in any sport, baseball, football, basketball, whatever. There is that sort of that's how I remember it. And every one of these failures like that, when I didn't slide, it's because things came on me too quickly. Like I could think of I was playing first base, fly to right field, and they tried to double the runner off. And it was just kind of weird the way he got between me and where the ball was coming, and the ball went by me. But that happened just blisteringly fast. Another play, a few games later, foul ball into, little bloop foul ball. I was kind of running to the bench and kind of, had to bail out a little too quickly, where if it had been slow motion, I feel like I would have been, you could have reacted differently. Like, it's really funny that slow motion part of it. I don't know what it is in your brain that kicks in those moments, but whatever it is, it's hard to tell which is the cause and which is the effect. Did you make the good play because things slowed down, or does it work the other way?
I come to think, if I had to give an answer, I'm thinking now, hearing you guys talk, I just think that when it's happening at that moment, you're so focused in that moment that everything around you, I don't know how you feel, it's silent. Like you don't know anything.
Yeah.
So that silence and that concentration makes the perception itself, because you're not slow, and like everything you're doing is normal speed, right? But mentally it's slow because you're actually seeing it happen. You're like questioning, is this really, is this ball coming to me?
I didn't hear anything until after I got in the end zone. And then, Robert Smith, grabbed me. He's like, and you jumping up and down. I didn't hear anything until I got to the end zone. Nothing. The stadium was packed.
Same thing. I don't think I've ever heard the crowd in my punt returns or in my kick returns. Heard the crowd. You didn't hear the crowd. Like when I had good runs, you didn't hear the crowd.
Yeah.
I think you're just so focused on the pieces. All right, so we got the semifinalists. We're getting a little bit on our own nostalgia. People want to hear about our little pieces. All right, that's kind of funny. We got off on that. That's a good conversation. have some good stories though. I got some good successes I got to share that were surprising to me.
Well, I think if one thing, it just shows that Byron's healthier than either of us, because the first story he came up with that popped into his mind was a success. You and I had to go through about 6 failures before we got to one. So.
No, that's not true. I prompted. Can you see my screen? I prompted Byron only because after we were talking about successes, you know, his success at the highest level possible is, for me, trumps any of my successes, just because of that level, right? So, all right. So we got seniors. When you say seniors, Byron, help me out. What does that senior like their last
All
year?
the guys that have been like on the list for like 20 years. As far as they haven't, been, they've been on the what do you call it? The Pro Football Hall of Fame list or whatever it's called. And they, the last time they played was like 20 years ago. That's what it was.
All right. We were just talking. That's funny. We were just talking about Kenny Anderson last.
I told you, he was good.
He's not Hall of Fame,
Joe.
good, though.
You don't think so?
We
No,
were talking about like all-time best quarterbacks, and would Patrick Mahomes be there right now? And Byron and I came to the senses that he wouldn't be, because we were able to really rattle off a lot of quarterbacks right now. We're not saying he won't be there, but he's just 25. He hasn't had enough, time. So we were just talking about Kenny Anderson was a good quarterback. And it's funny, I called the guy a prospect today. His name was Ken Anderson, but it was the wrong person. And
just remember this. He was the original guy with Bill Walsh as far as running the West Coast offense when he played at Cincinnati. That's where Bill Walsh came from, Cincinnati.
And Cincinnati was good.
They were good a few years, but I think that's the biggest ding you can make on him, is that he was pretty much a 500 quarterback for, a below 500 quarterback most of his career. Although those teams were pretty bad.
Yeah.
Huh.
I'm just looking at his numbers. If you could remember a name of somebody that plays for a team that's really not known, to me, they had to be pretty good. That's how I always look at it.
He was pretty good.
For you to recognize and remember the play of the name of the game on a team like the Bengals, it's got to be something. So,
and he was cool with the double bar face mask.
Exactly.
2 bars, and that was it.
Maxi Bohan. I don't know him.
I don't know him either.
All right, Mark Clayton. I like Mark Clayton.
Yeah.
Mark Clayton was good. Roger Craig, definitely. Oh my God, Roger Craig's not in there.
But again, like, these guys aren't.
Dude, he had 1,000 yards rushing, 1,000 yard receiving. They won 3 Super Bowls. How could you not?
But if you're telling me that Patrick Mahomes doesn't get in after the 3 years he had, those were Roger Craig's. Again, I got to pull up his stats to make sure I'm not talking out my butt here, but I feel like Roger Craig's peak was very short, right?
Yeah, but
he spent 8 seasons with the San Francisco, won 3 Super Bowls, had to go to the NFC Championship at least another 2 more times. I mean, so in 8 seasons, 5 years, he was in the championship play.
He only had Terrell Davis had a short lifespan too, when you really think about it.
I mean, if you're going to let Roger Craig in, it's on the strength of his his success doing both running and catching the ball. His rushing numbers by themselves, he only had 1 year or 3 years of more than 830 yards rushing.
I'm with you, but it's the duel though, because that wasn't heard of. That was pretty impressive. 2,000 yards in both sides is pretty impressive. 1,000 yards for a receiver is impressive. 1,000 yards for a running back is impressive.
How many touchdowns do you think he scored in 11 years?
How many? Roger Craig? Oh, man, you had a lot of different players over there.
50.
I don't know. I would say 11, 12.
No, he ran for 56. He caught 17.
Okay, I don't know. Laverne Dilla, defensive end, Green Bay Packers.
Randy Gradishaw.
Okay, Randy Gradishaw. Okay, I like him. Orange Crush, Denver Broncos. John would probably be rooting for him. Lester Hayes should be in there. That's Stickum, man.
Well, that's the reason why he's not in there, because after they got rid of the Stickum, he probably had like 1 interception after that.
Yeah, but man, he was a shutdown receiver.
And this
Chris-
guy here, Chris Hinton, his son is with the Giants right now as a defensive lineman. He was an undrafted free agent.
Funny, a guard and his son's a defensive lineman.
Yeah.
Billy White Shoes Johnson. You're skipping right over him.
Where?
Widener University product.
I didn't skip him. Where?
He's
Where
on
did I
there.
skip over?
Yeah, he should be up top there. I mean, he should.
Where
be
am I skipping over him?
He's on there somewhere. It's not in order. It's just whatever.
Oh, sorry. I'm looking at the article, the
Okay.
SI article. All right.
Okay, so you could kill me here. Don't tell me. I like Billy White Shoes Johnson, man.
There you go, right
I
there.
know him. He lives in Atlanta. I met him. He gave Upsala and the MAC like a boost because
Yeah.
my buddies were always making, are you in Division III? We're not. But then when they met Billy White Shoes Johnson at their house, they're like, "Hey, Billy," because he played for Atlanta, and and I'm like, "Yeah, come over here, Billy. What's going on?" Victor Roach, I was in college. Oh, you went to Upside? I go, yeah. Hey, can you tell me if I see these guys? They're all impressed with you. They don't talk too much about me. Can you tell them how tough our conference was? Oh man, from that day over, they never said a word to me again. He was such a nice guy, and he lit them up, man. There was no confusion. He lit them up. So I got nothing but love for Billy White Shoes Johnson.
Joe Jacoby should be in
Joe Jacoby, yes.
for Washington Redskins. Well,
Definitely.
Washington Commanders.
Billy White Shoes should be in just because of his name, Billy White Shoes.
Stop.
Okay, I'm just saying. I mean, and everybody knows about him. He came from Division III. How could you not give? Man, he's the Sam Mills of receivers and kick
Yeah, but
returners.
who
man.
should be in first? Was it Dex? No, what's that guy? Hester, Devin Hester, or him?
How many years did Devin Hester have?
Uh,
And Devin Hester was purely just a returner. He couldn't even run receiver. He wasn't a receiver, nothing. He was just a returner. Great.
Yeah, but
one.
he was so dominant. Like I
There's
feel
no
like
doubt.
I got room for Ray Guy and Devin Hester before I got room for some of these other clowns.
Klecko, definitely.
There we go, Mr.
I like Klecko. I don't know this Kuchenberg.
whoa! Come on, he played Miami Dolphins, man. Come on, man. You
Yeah.
gotta know him.
I'm
He's
not-
part of that
I'm
great line with Larry Little.
not a Dolphins guy. George Coons.
He was very good. Long time.
He's real good. Good. Man, these are long time guys. Jim Marshall.
Marshall should have been in years ago.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, 19 seasons.
Well,
Okay.
I'm missing
Clay
the
Matthews Jr.
That's the dad.
Yeah. Man, they got some good genes, that family.
There's about 6 of them.
Yeah. Eddie Meter, quarterback, played 11 years. Okay. 6 Pro Bowls. All right. Stanley Morgan. Don't know him. Tabby Nobis.
He definitely should be in the Hall of Fame. This guy, he's been getting robbed for years because he always played on crappy teams down there in Atlanta. Look him up. He was great at the University of Texas too.
Kelly, quarterback, 65 interceptions.
And he's another guy that got robbed. He should have been in the Hall of Fame. He died a couple of years ago, I think.
Byron,
Oh,
I'm glad you don't have a vote because you put everybody in.
I put
Yeah.
You guys
everybody.
both. Everybody's going in.
I like
That's right,
I like Sterling Sharp. 5
There
Pro
was-
Bowls.
I feel like there's a lot of from this group. There's a lot of like executives and owner, like Art Rooney,
Yeah.
Rune Arledge, the TV producer. Like,
Hey, listen, wait, you're getting off me. Everson Walls. I like Everson Walls. Chuck Howley was good too. All right, let's go to coaches.
yeah,
Bud
but
Adams.
Chuck Howley's not good enough to be in the Hall of Fame. It's the Hall of Fame, not the Hall of pretty decent players.
All right, so let's go. Bud Adams. I don't know who this is. Founder,
The
chairman.
owner of
But I'm the Oilers,
Oilers.
Houston Oilers. Wait, we probably a copyright violation. Cut that.
Rune, television executive. I don't know him. CO.
You don't, whoa. You don't know Rune Arledge, man? Come on. ABC
remember.
Sports.
The reason that there's Monday Night Football is Rune Arledge.
Yeah, Rune Arledge. Come on, man. You got to know him.
No, I gotta look it up. CO
Ah.
Bocado, a scout for 40 years. All right.
Yeah,
Oh,
he should.
they even put scouts in it.
Yeah.
Innovative.
Contributor.
Dave Correll.
You don't know? Come on, Don Coryell.
Don
Dan
Coryell,
Fowler.
Eric Coryell. Yeah, he's too. Is he too? How is Victor too young if he's older than me? That can't be right.
I don't know what he's thinking of.
All those Niners team, those San Diego teams. Dan Reeves too. I mean, there's a lot. There's a lot of
Mike
I feel
Holmgren. I like him.
Yeah.
I'm saying, hell no. He should be in there for what? One Super. No.
But I think this
Robert
class,
Kraft definitely should be in there.
Why? He owns the team. And
Dude,
especially
he built the dynasty, dude.
he
He bought a
built
team.
anything.
He bought a team that was doing nothing. Look what he did.
Oh, he
Byron,
Come on, man.
but-
New England was terrible to Kraft to go over.
yeah, I'm sick of the
What was that
Patriots too.
Head coach, come on.
What?
Belichick.
He'll be in the Hall of Fame
Yeah.
too. I mean, that's
Kraft,
Yeah, but
Kraft
Kraft,
belongs
the
in there.
owner-
No, I'm sorry.
the owner-
Kraft belongs in there. Kraft belongs in there. I don't know, McVay. Is that?
I'm sure
any
you're
John
right.
relation?
McVay, the Tampa
Is
GM.
that
Yeah.
okay. Any relation? No, it's different.
No.
spelling.
Yeah, John
Art,
McVay used to
Art
be the head coach
Modell,
of
Art
Giants.
Modell definitely belongs in there.
Why?
Yeah.
Why?
Dude, he took a beloved team
He
Built
packed up
up
and
the
moved.
and then won a Super Bowl.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Come on, I mean,
Yeah,
dude,
yeah.
that's got Canucks to move from Cleveland and
Yeah.
then to build a sustainable team. Baltimore ain't
Yeah.
going anywhere. That's a successful organization.
Yeah, he still packed up and left in the heat in the cover of darkness like a bandit.
Yeah, but once again, Byron, this isn't the Hall of Good Citizens. It's the Hall of the great contributors to the game of football, and I think
It's a whole bunch of
I'm not a big Dan Reed fan. I think Art Rooney Jr. should be in there. Marty Schottenheimer. That's hard.
I mean, if you're going to put Roger Craig in, you got to put Marty Schottenheimer.
I mean, come on, man. You can't compare the two. That's not fair.
Gary Seaman, lineman, a referee.
Referees, schmeferees.
Like Strahan, I don't just think. I think these guys are good for. No, Tooney. These guys are on the list. NFL.
Yeah. And John Wooten definitely does. I met him in Dallas when I was there.
All right. How many can they pick?
I think they get down to 12, and then the 12, it ends up being like 3.
Yeah, the way they send 12 seniors and 12 regulars, and then I guess there's a limit on how many they can pick. But I thought anybody who gets the 75% gets in. But I mean, it's never more than a handful.
All right, so we're running a little bit here. So, what do you think about Kyler Murray getting paid?
About who? What?
Kyler Murray got paid big time.
Oh, hey, he's earned it.
Okay, well, we'll see what he does. He deserves it, but we'll see what he does when he gets to the playoffs. I'm just saying.
He got paid. They made sure they took him. There was a lot of bad communication going back on the Twitter feeds going out there. And then, what do you think about the rumors of there's still what's wrong with Cleveland, man? They know they got a problem. That's the problem with Deshaun Watson.
Well, they how long do you think he's going to be suspended?
I think he's going to suspend for the entire season.
6 games.
Oh, that would be
That's
disheartening. I said this on our show. I want 3 years. He's not going to get 3 years. I think it's going to be somewhere in between. I think it's going to be somewhere in between there. I think it's got to be at least. I think it's got to be at least half a year. I think there's some players association stuff that kicks in, some different appeals that kick in if they suspend him for a whole year. So I'd be really surprised if it's anything other than 8 to 12 games somewhere in there.
I think it's going to be as close as possible to a year. Look at how his contract is structured. His contract is structured to make $1 million in the first year.
Yeah,
Right?
I agree. I
So
agree
think
with
about
you. Though,
it. They structured the contract. They knew something was going on.
Yeah.
Right, to get structured contract for that much money, but only $1 million in the first year. Murray's getting $168 million guaranteed.
Yeah. Well, they just brought in Josh Rosen too, so I guess they wanted a little more of a stopgap past what's the guy from the Colts?
Jacoby
Brissett. Yeah. Honestly, Jacoby Brissett's no different from Tyrod Taylor. If you got to plug that guy in, he's fine. He's serviceable. He's not going to win you a whole lot of games, but he's not going to lose a whole lot of games either. Yeah. I don't think.
All right. Well, we start wrapping this up. Joe, how can our listeners listen to your show? What is your times your show?
So we go live every Saturday, 11 o'clock Eastern. If you want to listen live, go to valleyfreeradio.org. If you want to check us out as a podcast, wherever podcasts are, just search for the Sports Plus Show or go to thesportsplusshow.com. There's plenty of links there. But lots going on all across the sports world, and it's been a little more plus than sports lately with what's been going on. So tune in, check us out. It's three guys yelling at each other. A lot more obnoxiously than the three of us, for sure.
Yeah. What do you think about when we were talking about Brittany Griner? Any thoughts on that, Byron?
I was stationed overseas, when I was in the military. The first thing they tell you is if you get caught over here, you're on your own. You're on your own. And then when they
say over here, over that country, or just over here anywhere?
No, and over there in Germany, they tell you, they first thing in their mouth, if you get
he's in Russia.
Yeah, I'm just saying, any foreign country over there, if they tell you, if you get in trouble, when I'm in the military, they tell you, if you get in trouble, you're on your own. And when they finish with you, whenever they release you, then you have to come back and deal with us in the military. So we knew not to be messing around and doing anything, in a foreign land. You just don't do it. She should have known better. She's been playing there for years.
I agree. It's idiotic to try and bring illegal drugs across an international border, which is why I don't believe at all that she actually, I'm 100% sure that stuff was planted on her at the airport, because like you said, Byron, she's been going back and forth to Russia for years.
Nah, she said she's done it before.
No, she said that because
that's what I thought I heard. Then I apologize.
But she said that because she had to plead guilty in order to be eligible for a prisoner exchange. So anything that she said in court or in public, to me, I don't buy any of that being the truth, because honestly, there's no way that someone who's been playing in Russia for 8 years and uses this product regularly, who doesn't have a connection in Moscow, who all she needs to do is keep herself medicated enough to get on the plane. And then as soon as she hits the ground, she's a rich celebrity in Russia. There's no way she would have to smuggle her own, handful of vape pens across.
It wasn't that much
border.
Either. It wasn't a big amount. It wasn't like, distribution level. It's not a big amount.
Right. Even less of a reason for her to risk taking it. Like there's no way she's going to be able to bring enough to last her the entire season. So she would get it when she got there. I don't believe for 1 second that she actually ever put that stuff in her bag. And the whole prisoner exchange thing has tainted the whole legal process.
What do you think was behind it? What do you think was what were they trying to do behind it? Why would someone plant it?
I think Putin either wanted this particular arms dealer back and saw the opportunity. There are plenty of WNBA players who have to go over to Russia and play because the WNBA doesn't pay enough. A whole different story. We've done whole shows on that. But I think, knowing that, he knows how vulnerable they are. So he picked the highest profile target he could find, looking for either goodwill, and again, we're talking about Putin. He's not really the most.
Do you think Brittany Griner, being the celebrity she is now, goes back
to Russia?
What after that?
I wouldn't.
I wouldn't step foot in the country.
I'm just asking because she's a star making money. Now she's like, I ain't going. Ain't no way. I've been here long enough.
I mean, I think she's hopefully can find a similar job in Spain or Brazil or somewhere else. But
she's gonna get a book deal. I mean, she's gonna get paid.
Yeah, but they're thinking about keeping her until December. The whole, so that's, I've worked in a jail setting, and if you're not one of those people that are used to being confined like that, that plays a lot on your mind. You're sitting there. They don't have like the luxury some of the prisons.
She's tall. It's not like
Yeah. I'm just saying, but
she's not the average human being to be locked up.
She's going to be in a short bunk that's probably 6.5 feet. Long. It's not ain't that big. One little mattress and stuff. She's not used to living like that. That plays a lot on your mind. That takes a lot out of
probably getting fed 1,200 calories a day. I'm sure she's not getting proper nutrition for a 6'9" athlete or 6'10" athlete, whatever she is. There's her career is definitely going to suffer for this. And, aside from the fact that she can't go overseas or is going to be less willing to go overseas to make the real money, I don't know. Hopefully this is shameful enough to equalize the salaries a little bit, because I think it's absolutely ridiculous that the best basketball players in the world have to play for their whole off season to make a living.
It's got some business, man. They got to make money, right?
They do make money. I mean,
did we lose Byron?
I think we lost Byron. Too much feminism talk, but I think if you look at the numbers, the WNBA is growing faster than the NBA in the last 10 to 12 years, and they both it's hard to judge the numbers because they both took a hit with COVID, but it's it's coming.
I guess don't say that again because I guess it died. I got no. I can pay your bill. All right, we're gonna wrap it up here. And we're gonna wrap it up with, again, as we say, our nation's defenders and our first responders. We always talk about Gary Sinise Foundation.org, freedom, security, and precious gifts that we as Americans should never take for granted. We must do all we can to extend our hand in times of needs to those who willingly sacrifice each day to provide that freedom and security. But we can never do enough to show the gratitude to our nation's defenders. We could always do a little bit more. Gary Sinise, please donate, help our nation's defenders, our first responders. Joe, it was a pleasure having you on. I got you a little nervous when I told you I had something to say to you, right? With that Sam Prince. I thought it was a good story.
Never know what's coming.
And the kid was like, you better pick him. You better pick him. Man, I didn't even know about him until I was on my show. So I thought that was pretty good. I thought it was a nice thing gesture the Giants said. Well, Joe, good luck with your show. Say hello to your moms and your family for me. And thanks for coming on. And we're looking forward for you to come on again as the season continues to progress. And I'll say goodbye for my friend Byron. I hope everything's okay over there. It's hot, so maybe ran out of electricity. So, all right, good night, everybody. God bless and have a great day. Next Thursday, 8 p.m., Jersey Boy Sports Talk. Don't forget to share and subscribe. Peace.
Thanks, Vic.
All right, brother.